Hey, what's good everyone, welcome back to the channel. And welcome to my Switchglaive build guide for Nioh 3. If you like stance switching, flashy combos, and melting enemies without feeling stressed the whole time, this video is for you. In this build guide we'll be touching base on my stats, my gear setup and recommendations, martial arts skills, guardian spirit and soul core combos, and some beginner tips and combos towards the end of the video. So, why the Switchglaive? The Switchglaive is all about fluid stance transitions. You're not just spamming attacks, you're essentially weaving in attack combos. The high stance gives you burst damage, mid stance is for control, and low stance for pressure and key management. This build rewards smart play, but doesn't punish you too hard once you learn the flow. So if we briefly touch base on my core stat focus, for this build we're prioritising magic. Now this is your main scaling stat for the Switchglaive. It provides more damage and stronger omnyo buffs. We've also got constitution for survivability, of course this stat never hurts, and some heart for key recovery so you can stay aggressive. Then I've pumped a few points into skill, which obviously helps with scaling and weapon efficiency, so we're basically building a battle mage assassin hybrid type of build. High damage, good sustain and survivability, and a very smooth tempo. Of course, with my recommendation you can always change these stats to tailor your personal playstyle, but I find this setup to be optimal for this particular build. The beauty of this game and Nioh 3 is you can change your stats on the fly, and of course feel free to even remodel your Switchglaive from magic to another stat of your choosing. The builds are endless, so experiment and ultimately have fun with whatever build setup you prefer. So moving on to the next segment, the Onmyo setup. Now this build really shines with Onmyo magic support, so my recommendations for talismans would be the barrier talisman for ultimate key recovery, the extraction talisman, of course this synergizes really well with life recovery effects. We've also got the elemental familiar talisman, so lightning or fire or whichever element you prefer, for constant elemental pressure. And the optional talisman would be the sloth talisman if you want to make bosses feel like they're underwater. You essentially pop these buffs before a fight, apply elemental pressure, and then stance switch until everything basically disappears. In terms of my main Yokai ability, I personally prefer the Ibaraki Doji Soul Core, but in terms of skill stats that you could look out for on your Yokai abilities, you want something quick, reliable and heavy hitting. No long animations that get you punished. Just think of this ability as a combo extender. Now if we dive into my gear setup very briefly, so generally I've gone for a slightly tanky gear setup with a mix of random armour pieces for now, as I'm still progressing through my first playthrough. In my personal opinion, I would recommend the Takeda Shingen armour set for this build, as the armour set bonus is fantastic and it offers a great variety of good stats. And in terms of weapons and your weapon synergy, I've gone for Benkei Switchglaive, or the highest possible level Switchglaive that I can find for now. Ultimately, if you can, try to look for omnyo power scaling on your armour, melee damage versus electrified or blustered enemies for additional damage and DPS, key recovery bonus effects, and life recovery on Amrita absorption. And of course, if there is a armour bonus set equivalent to something like the Tsukuyomi style magic synergy, that would be ideal for this kind of build. But for a general baseline, look out for decent defensive stats, toughness, and of course, make sure you are under that 70% encumbrance threshold. Core Switchglaive martial arts skills and stance flow transition skills are the backbone of Switchglaive combos. They let you shift between weapon forms very smoothly. So I would highly recommend the Path of 3. Cycle the Switchglaive through guillotine, glaive and scythe while attacking. Great for continuing string pressure. And then furthermore we would recommend the Switch Stance Blade, Switch Stance Edge and Switch Stance Retribution. These are basically your bread and butter essential combos for chaining combos fluently across all stances. If you're looking for more offensive skills, I would recommend the Cyclone or Cyclone Wind ability, and for low stance the Kibosh Kicker is a fantastic combo extender and I highly recommend this move. And here's just a quick clip of my personal martial arts setup and skill recommendations for high stance, mid stance and low stance. Feel free to of course pause the video here so you can copy these setups if you'd like to do so. And finally, in this section we'll be going over some beginner tips for skill usage and a beginner combo to help you beginner players out. Focus on stance transition skills first, like the Path of 3 and switch stance moves. They're basically key to chaining your combos. Once you get the hang of things, add spin attacks, Cyclone and Cyclone Wind or Whirling Blade, as follow-ups are brilliant to extend pressure. And of course I would also recommend the Arc of Chaos / Fire move, as this gives you safe mid-range reach and ranged pressure to open or finish fights. A beginner easy combo would be low stance Kibosh Kicker to apply your first elemental stack and pressure, stance switch into mid stance followed up with a Cyclone Wind for extension, and finally into a high stance attack and simply follow up with what you see fit. So guys, that's the build, clean, stylish and effective. If you like aggressive Spellblade energy and smooth stance transitions, this is one of the most satisfying setups you can run in Nioh 3. Drop a like if this video helped, and let me know what weapon you would like to see next. That's enough for me everyone. Enjoy the boss fight gameplay towards the end of the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, bye for now.
I will show you just how powerful.
Nioh!
Have you given up on becoming Shogun?
This has to end.
finally managed to stop you.